Well, I was very fond of Winnie the Pooh because I think the author gets inside the mind of a child perfectly, and the way they think and the things they say. I'm also a great fan of Dr. Seuss. Anybody who's read my books will know that I like writing quite silly rhymes, so he is definitely an influence and a great fan of his. And he can not only write, he can draw as well, which is slightly infuriating for a writer. Not many people can do that and do it well, but he is pretty much a genius, I think. Well, I quite like sweet things, so it might be quite fun to be Winnie the Pooh for a day. Um, it might also be quite fun to be Bilbo Baggins for the day. I'd like to try living in the Hobbit house, the Hobbit hole, for a weekend. Um, maybe maybe one of his less exciting weekends. Well, it's been demonstrated quite recently that reading and being read to uh, has a crucial influence on a child's development, on the physical development of their brain. If they're particularly up to the age of 5, I mean, I don't know the medical science behind it in detail, the neuroscience behind it, but yeah, if children are read to and start reading um, when at the right age. I mean, not too soon. I don't think they should be forced to learn to read, but certainly sharing a book, particularly like picture books, sharing a book at a very early age is one of the best things you can do to assist your child's development. Not only it's an intimate thing to do anyway as a parent, it's also, as I say, it's crucial to their sort of intellectual well-being and development. Well, do you know, I've heard people saying digital rubbish, rubbish, and I've heard people saying physical books. They're all going to be out of date. They're all going to chuck them all out in 3 years, few years time. Everything's going to be downloaded. And I actually think that there's room for both. To be honest, I mean, it's a physical book is great, and it's a thing you can sort of take with you and read in the bath. Actually, although that might be changing. But something like an ebook or an app can actually add things to something like the sort of thing I do, like a picture book, where you have the words I write and the pictures that, say, someone like May does, but there might be lots of detail and lots of other little stories going on in the background. It's nice to bring those out. And I think anything which just has a parent and a child or an adult and a child sharing a story is can't be a bad thing. I was pleasantly surprised by it. Actually, I particularly like the asides, and we've had great fun recording them today, and sort of making a few up as we go along. Um, I like the opportunity it gives for children to actually get into the story. That's one thing I loved as a child, was actually feeling part of a story. I mean, I was brought up partly abroad, and we had a shop nearby, and I lived in Singapore when I was 9, and the only children's books it sold were Enid Blyton's. It had a whole shelf of them, and I read my way one a week through these books, and I felt completely in that world. Uh, and also, I remember when reading Tolkien, that world completely absorbed me, and you sort of want to be part of it. And what the Me Book apps do is allow you to actually put yourself into a story to a certain extent, which I think is quite neat, really.